I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. Hello, welcome to Women Awakening. I'm your host, Cynthia James. I'm very excited to be with you, very honored to be with you, because I really believe that women are awakening on this planet in extraordinary ways because it's our time and we're needed. You know, the feminine energy of love and nurturing and care and kindness and creativity, is needed more than ever. People feel like they're suffering. People feel like they're not seen. People feel like they're not heard. And around the world, women are feeling under attack. And so I am so grateful I get to introduce you to women who've said yes to their lives, to making a difference in their own lives, who are using their gifts and their talents to make a difference in the lives of others. And so I'm grateful that you're here. We do these every Friday. So we're on all of the platforms: Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, Spreaker, Amazon, YouTube video. Um, Please subscribe. Share these videos with other people, especially women that you know need inspiration. Well, I'm very grateful to introduce you to someone new to me. Her name is Heather Eck. She's a multimedia abstract artist and writer, an intuitive artist and painter. And Heather interprets people, places, and experiences through color, a condition known as synesthesia. Like an enormous box of crayons, her gift operates by categorizing through intricate but specific shades of color. And while this condition enables her to experience color, she responds to these encounters with people, things, emotions, and spaces by understanding the particular shade of experience that a person dwells in. She uses her gift to detect the most healing color for them, to remedy their wounds. Guided by the chakra system and inspired by spirituality and the mysteries of the universe, this is so beautiful. Heather transforms these vibrant energies into captivating paintings that uplift, inspire, and ultimately heal. Each canvas becomes a symphony of color and emotion, a visual representation of the unseen connections that weave through our lives. Her work is more than just art. It's a medium of healing, a testament to a profound influence of color on our being. Heather, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and it's so nice to connect with you.
You too. So I just want to start, you know, how did you grow up? People who have some of these gifts, um, not everybody understands them, not everybody is celebrating them. So how did you grow up and how did this beautiful gift evolve for you?
That's a really great question. When I was a little kid, I was very curious about art. I was very interested in it. Art was always around me as a child, and I always really paid attention to how my body sort of responded to certain situations. So, like looking back, because I actually started writing about this, I was in, places where I would feel tension in my tummy, and I would think my parents would say like, "Oh, you're just nervous." But I think I was actually reacting to the energy of a room or the energy of people, and I didn't really know. I would sort of watch TV or movies and pick up on things about the scene that other people wouldn't pick up on, like the color or just I would watch a movie and go, "Oh, everybody in that scene is wearing maroon. What is that about?" But stuff that other people wouldn't really notice. And I would lay on my floor and I would draw what music looked like to me. And that was part of the synesthesia coming through that I just didn't have any vocabulary for at the time. So, but I grew up as a very creative kid, and I was always really curious about the arts, and I was always very curious about the mysteries of the world and the unexplained. I was in the library looking at books on the Dead Sea Scrolls when I was like 11. So I was just always fascinated by the world and the universe and God, even as a really young kid.
That is so beautiful. So I want to ask you, how did you find out the name of what's happening?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was called. I assumed that everybody had movies that played in their minds when they listened to music or they ate something or drank something. And so I have been working with a spiritual teacher for the last couple of years, and I was, she and I talked through what are your gifts? What are you here to do? Creative expression, clairsentience, claircognizance. We talked about all the sort of clairs and what your spiritual gifts are, even like the gifts of the spirit, right? Like mine are wisdom and knowledge and discernment and things like that. So all along, I've been collecting these terms and these words and this deeper understanding of my gift. But I actually saw another artist who said that she paints what music looks like, and I was like, oh, I do that too. And I saw that she had something called synesthesia. And then I Googled it and I fit all the different terms for it. And I went, oh, that's what it is. Okay, wow. There are other people out there who have this too, but there's only about 3 to 4% of the population who do.
Right. And so the definition is people who see things in color and can translate it.
Yeah, it's almost like your senses in your brain cross. So if I listen to music or I smell a perfume or I taste something, my brain sort of processes that sense as color, shape, texture, and form. And it creates these little, like, if you've ever seen the movie Ratatouille, it's a
Yeah.
Disney Pixar, the little rat Remy, there's a scene where he eats a strawberry and a piece of cheese, and they actually animate like what it tastes like to him. And that's the closest, description of what it's like for us.
Wow. Well, that's so amazing. Okay. So now this is what you do for your living.
hmm
Tell me how that evolved, because not everybody would go, well, listen, I got this gift and I'm going to now make a living at it. You know,
Yeah.
how did that evolve for you?
It's been a while. I did not, so while I was always very artistic and creative, I didn't set about on a path to pursue that. I went to college and got a degree in human resources. I worked in large advertising agencies and banks and even video game companies for a long time in human resources. And I always sort of like dabbled in artistic, creative hobbies, but never really thought that that was possible for me. And, I kind of became the kind of tired that no amount of vacation or time off was going to fix. Like my soul was tired. I was tired at a spiritual level, where you're like, oh, is this all there is? Like, I had to pump myself up to drive into the office some days and think about even going in. And I started to paint again, and I started to invite art back into my life again, and I was creative again, and I felt like little by little I was sort of releasing this like pent up steam in my body, and I was sort of I think when you start to invite that aspect of yourself back in that I had left behind so many years before, I started to fall in love with it. And I think at a certain point, I said, this is something I'd like to pursue. How do I make this happen? And then the universe showed up for me one night. I had gotten a promotion and a very large increase on the HR side of my life. And I had also gotten an invitation to do a solo show on the art side of my life. And I was so irritated by the HR promotion that I cried because it meant more work, more responsibility, more late nights, and I just felt exhausted, even though it was like, wow, look at this, I'm being recognized for my hard work. I thought, please don't look at me. I don't want to do this, but I felt so thrilled about the solo show that I was beyond excited. And at that point, I kind of said to God, like, why are you handing me both of these? What's the deal? And it felt like a test. It felt like you got to decide which way do you want to go? And ultimately, I made the decision to say, I want to go down the art path. How do we figure that out? And ultimately decided to leave HR at the end of 2019, right before we
The
ended up in a
band.
global pandemic. Yeah. And you know what? I don't think I would have survived the pandemic and that job at the same time. I truly think it would have killed me. Not even in like I think it would have killed me in the literal sense. It was that
Yeah.
stressful. Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you, there's a few things that came to mind as you were speaking, I cannot tell you how many guests I've had that something happened choice points just before the pandemic. I mean, it was like something
Oh, I
was
have
was
chills. Yeah.
pulling. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. Many of us who are creatives have tried to go down that linear path. I was in corporate communications and all this other stuff. But it's like the universe says, I've given you this gift, and I'm not going to let you rest until you pay attention to it.
Hmm. I agree with that 100%.
So first of all, how do you find people and how do you work with them?
Yeah, so I'm a visual artist and I paint large abstract pieces that are meant to go in homes or offices to provide some aspect of healing or balance for them. And so that's sort of like original art that you can look at and decide, I want to feel more calm, so you look at blue or you look at green. On the other side, I do something with people called a spirit portrait where I will actually sit with your energy and meditate on and feel my way into where you might be feeling blocked or stuck. And so, what I believe in my work is that every physical ailment or issue or dis-ease that we find within ourselves has an underlying spiritual cause. And I think that when you are doing the work that your spirit wants to be doing, you're living a healthier life because you're actively in pursuit of creating peace and love and joy out in the world. And when you're doing like I was doing in human resources and I was resisting my gifts and I wasn't working in them, I was creating pain, literally created high blood pressure in my body because I was resisting what I was actually here to do. So a spirit portrait enables me to sort of paint a map towards your healing and offers you messages of hope, support, and encouragement to help you find your path forward out of pain.
Well, that's awesome. And so tell me, so how would I know about you? I mean, how would I let's just say I'm going through something and I
Uh-huh.
haven't all the other stuff hasn't worked.
Yeah.
And I know I need something else that's going to take me into a deeper spiritual place, but I don't even know what that is. So
Hmm.
so so what calls people to you?
That's a really great question. A lot of my work has been through referrals where somebody has done a session with me and then they say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe what she told me. You've got to do one with her too." And so that's the primary way I think people find out about me is through referrals because they've done a spirit portrait session, so they've gotten a painting from me and they get that 30-minute intuitive reading with me too. Outside of that, I sort of live in the spaces online in on Instagram or YouTube, or I've got a podcast where I interview people about how to live a more radiant life. And so I'm trying to help people understand that there's more to life than, like you said, that linear path where you got the 401k and the steady paycheck, which is great. And sometimes I wish I had that still as an artist. It's a roller coaster of emotions. But that's generally where I tend to hang out is online and connecting with people that way.
Well, that's so beautiful. I don't know. I think it was maybe a year or two ago. Um, you're the second person I've ever heard of that does this kind of thing. And there's a woman in Ireland whose name is Lori, and I think her thing online is Lori's Angels. And she paints angels, but she also will take the portrait of you, and it's not quite what you do because what she does. Okay, I'm making this up. This is my description of what I see, is that she literally finds the guardian or the angel spirit that lives within you or the ancestor that lives with you, and that becomes the painting.
Oh, wow.
It's but like I said, there's only I've haven't you only you two are the ones I've heard about, but I feel like there's something beautiful about that because that feels like the universe is saying, let me show you different pathways.
Hmm.
My last book that just came out is about magic, the kingdom of magic and mystery. And I feel like what you just described, even as a child, was the magic within you wanting to be birthed.
Yes. Yes.
And so in your ideal life, in your ideal scene for your life, what do you want people to know? How do you want to support people in evolving?
Hmm. I think that the number one thing that I see in women when I do a spirit portrait for them is that many of us are blocked in our throats and in our hearts. And, it's not a new concept to talk about the idea of speaking your truth or living your most authentic life. But I truly think that if we stepped into that and we lived truthfully and we lived authentically, that we would be happier, healthier, more fulfilled, and we would be offering our gifts and service of one another. And so, so many of us, myself included, hide or protect or guard the true essence of who we are. And I did that for many, many years. And still, I'm 44 now. I'll be 45 in September. I still actively try to tell the truth every day.
Yes, so important.
Yes, so important. And so I really hope that people lean into that more, especially in the current environment that we're in, that we speak up for ourselves, that we reach out our hands to each other or reach back and pull somebody along with us, and we encourage one another to just be more loving and just be more honest.
Yeah, it's so important. So, um, are you in a relationship right now?
I am. Yep.
Okay. So, here's my question.
Hmm.
How, because this is for the ladies out there who've got gifts and it's like they don't get me. They just they don't get me. So
Uh-huh.
I wanted so first of all, what was your, for lack of a better word, criteria for someone to come into your life and partner with you?
Mm. That's a really great question. So I've been married now since 2008, so for a long time. When we first started dating, I remembered sort of letting him in on a little bit of my woo, just a little bit, because I had woo even back then. I've had woo, I'll say woo. I was spiritual even as a young kid. As I've gotten older, in the last, I would say 7 to 8 years, I feel like, and I even joke about this with him too, I feel like I keep bringing boxes down from the attic and opening them up and going, wait, there's more in here. There's
Mm.
more in here about my spirituality, about my gifts that I know you didn't sign up for, and it's totally okay if at some point you're like, this is just too much. I can't really handle it. But I do, even just last night, I found myself protecting something about my business because I didn't know that he was going to get it and I wasn't sure that he was going to accept it. And so I have been finding that I just have to trust that that person or, is going to be open to receiving what I have to give. And if he's not, that's okay,
Right.
but I have to offer him the opportunity before I try to hide my authentic self.
Yeah, well, 17 years is hanging in there. You know,
Yeah.
but I just love what you just said. Because if we're not willing to take ownership of who we are and reveal it, then we cannot expect someone to love the total us
Hmm.
if we don't show it, if we don't
Right.
get it.
Right.
It
And we can't assume that they won't.
right, exactly. And so, what do you say to women who have they know they have some kind of gift? It
Hmm.
could be intuitive, it could be artistry, it could be psychic abilities, whatever.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
what do you say to them when they're not necessarily in a culture that goes, "Oh boy, you've got these gifts."
Hmm. Yeah, I do believe that we all come in here with spiritual gifts, and I believe that our gifts are all meant to work together in some sort of beautiful, magical, collaborative way. And I try to say, I'm just thinking of a friend in particular where she's really struggling right now with work. She's overwhelmed. She's a single mom. She's got everything bearing on the weight of her shoulders, quite literally so much that she's got shoulder pain that is so bad, it's the weight of the world. And so I think what I try to remind her of is that you do have gifts. And if you just try to find some place and time to be quiet and to go within and to listen to yourself, I think you'll find what you need is already within you. And you can tap into that innate, beautiful intuition. I think all women have it, especially. They call it like mother's intuition, but I think all women have it, where if we can just get quiet and learn to listen to ourselves again, there's magic there. And I think that's the biggest thing is giving ourselves space to explore who we really are.
Yeah, and it's important. And ladies, here's the thing. Some people tell me I can't meditate because I sit down and there's a laundry list. I get it. But there are a myriad of ways online for you to begin to just do little meditations, little
Hmm.
times of quiet, just giving yourself a little bit of time to be still. It is such a gift. I mean, you are so right, Heather. And so what's next for you?
I'm exploring that. I'm working on making larger pieces that explore the bigger issues happening in our world today,
Oh,
and trying to play with what does the energy of healing that look like. Um,
cool.
I'm developing a membership where women can come in and explore their own creativity and their intuition and learn to meet themselves where they are and to hopefully develop those gifts. And I'd love to be able to offer my work out in the world through a show or through an exhibition where people can just walk into a space and see themselves reflected in the art and see that their beautiful, radiant spirits are here to do amazing things in the world, if only we make space for them.
Well, that's a beautiful vision. I'll stand with you with that.
Thank you.
You know, and so who supports Heather?
That's a great question. I feel very fortunate to have the support of my husband and my son. He's 12 and he's just the sweetest. He's my biggest fan. But I have a really strong spiritual community and mostly women. And we are all, I kind of think of us as like the Marvel Avengers of spiritual gifts. And so we really do hold space for each other and support each other. And we also, I would say, do a little butt kicking when we're not standing in our gifts and encourage each other to get out there and share what we're here to do.
Oh, I love that. Um,
Hmm.
for I think it was like 25 years, there were a group of seven of us. We've kind of scattered all over the world now. We still stay in touch, but it's not the same. But who did exactly that? We support each other through births, deaths, marriages,
Hmm.
betrayals, whatever.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Hmm.
Yeah, how do people find you, Heather?
I'm online on Instagram at Heather Eck Artist, and that's HeatherEck Artist. And you can find me at heathereck.com too.
Okay, ladies, listen, go check her out. I mean, she's one in a million out here doing this. So, this is really beautiful. Well, I asked my guests the same last question. This show is called Women Awakening. What do you think is the most important thing in this moment about women awakening on the planet?
That's such a powerful question because I'm seeing on social media, on TikTok especially, the rise of the divine feminine. And it is such an important time for women to join together to lead the effort of creating a more peaceful place.
Mhm.
And like I said, a lot of women that I work with, we are blocked in our hearts and we're blocked in our throats. And a lot of it is that we are just not speaking up or speaking out for ourselves and others. And we're also not always offering ourselves that unconditional love. And so I think women now can sit in this space of infinite and unconditional love for each other. You don't have to look like anyone else. You just have to be yourself and you just have to start speaking your truth and supporting other women in doing the same.
Well, that is so beautifully said. Well, Heather, I said one in a million, but you're very unique and you've said yes to those gifts, and that is a gift for the planet. So the dreams and the visions coming through you have to have a delivery system, and I'm very grateful that you were here with me to spend this time.
It has been an honor. Thank you so much.
Okay, ladies, I close this show the same way with different words. What if? What if the gifts that you were given because you were the one that was here to deliver them? What if the kind of quirky ways that you are, or the things that you think are a little odd, what if those are manifestations of the divine that want to come through you to heal this planet? Listen, I just want you to know you're important. I want you to know you matter. I'm so grateful that I get to walk this path with you, and I look forward to our next time together. I'll see you next time.